Hollywood meets Hollywood North. The glitz, the stars, the storylines. And for years, Vancouver has been cast as the underdog. But this city has taken notice.
I have the feeling that when I go to a hockey game and talk with some guys, they say, oh yeah, the way the Whitecaps play has changed so much, and the turnaround and this season, and also it's very positive, and there is a buzz, but you know how it is. You have to play good, and you have to win games. So we want to do our job on Saturday to keep the buzz buzzing.
53,000 strong at BC Place, a blockbuster matchup, but the real story? It's been written by the supporting cast. Unheralded heroes stealing the spotlight.
Caps need to be better with these set pieces. This corner kick here. Berhalter sends it in. This is a decent ball. Headed, and cleared off the line. Now it's turned in. Ralph Prematch has leveled this match.
Wow.
It's stoppage time.
Hollywood North has a chance to rewrite the script. The lights are up, the rivalry returns, and the next act is about to begin.
Welcome in, everyone. It is playoff night in Vancouver, and BC Place is about to absolutely explode. Whitecaps, LAFC, two giants, two superstar squads, and more than 53,000 packing this building, the biggest crowd in Canada this year to watch a soccer match. This is the matchup everyone's been waiting for. Thomas Muller, Son Heung-min, a Whitecaps team in the form of its life against an LAFC side built for big moments. We are live. We're rolling. We're looking to get your predictions in the chat. Who's scoring first? Who's stepping up? And how loud is BC Place going to be tonight? Strap in. Playoff soccer here in Vancouver is moments away. I'm Ace Raymond. Happy to be joined, as always, in the commentary booth by Canadian international Colin Miller. Colin, what an occasion.
What an occasion, Asa. It's 5:30. Kickoff's just over an hour away, and the place is filling up nicely. And already the atmosphere is building. Even walking around Vancouver today, we could see LAFC tops. Great to see that, but it was just a sea of Whitecaps colors. So lots to look forward to in the game. I think it's going to be I think it merits being a cup final itself, Asa. Two very talented teams.
Yeah, we've gone back and forth, I feel like, on the storylines. I think once we first learned of this matchup, it was all about Son versus Muller. And then you kind of shifted into the supporting cast. Who else is going to step up? What other superstars are going to make a name for themselves here at BC Place? And I feel like it's kind of coming back to Son and Muller, because those are the guys who have been in these moments, played in games like this. What's your sense when we're getting into this game when you're talking about those two particular players?
You would expect them both to be the difference makers for their team. There's a reason why both clubs have signed these players. I know from past experience as a player and as a manager, if you have a match winner in your team, you have a chance to win a game. And with Thomas Muller, not only is he scoring goals on a regular basis, same thing with Son Heung-min. They're scoring goals on regular, they're setting goals up, they're leading by example, they've lifted the standards within their clubs respectively. I just see one of those two, maybe both of them are going to be shining lights here tonight. But I also see the fact that we have two very talented goalkeepers who are going to be trying to stop the Mesa.
What's the key then in the middle of the park? Because I look at Mark Delgado, obviously, for LAFC. You got Tim Tillman as well on the LAFC side of things. And then you have those two that you've been raving about all season long, and Sebastian Berhalter and Andres Cubas for the Vancouver Whitecaps. So what's the key in the middle of the field that you're going to be keeping an eye on in this game?
Well, I think you've nailed it here, Asa. Tillman and Delgado, very key players for LAFC. A lot of it goes unnoticed, if you like. That's the ugly side of the game. The Vancouver Whitecaps have the same, but I think they have the best two in the MLS doing what they do. I'm not saying they're the best football players in the world, but the attitude, the application to get up to the ball, to do the defending, the hard graft, I call it the ugly side of the game, Asa. And I'm not being derogatory. I don't mean it to be disrespectful. They're just very, very good at. Cubas, for me, is the best number 6 in the MLS. I just think the man tackles heart and soul every game. When you get a crowd in BC Place and everyone's applauding a certain tackle from a player, you know how well he is being received by the team. This will be key. That midfield battle, there's not much between the teams in terms of attacking. I think one goal separates the two teams from an attacking point of view, Asa. But certainly that middle of the park, that's where any second ball, it's going to be who's going to be first up to that. It's going to be critical.
Now to the buzz, you opened by saying that you could feel it. You could see people filing into here at the BC Place, 53,000 plus going to be here in attendance, waving the towels throughout. It's going to be quite the scene. And then we've seen it as well in the streets leading up to this game. I'm sure you've seen it at the Abbotsford Soccer Association. It seems like everywhere I go, that's the conversation. It's this game, and it's been 3 weeks in the making here.
Well, I tell you, as a TD of the Abbotsford Soccer Association, and just to use that as an example, Asa, every night on field this week, are you going to the game? Are you commentating? Are you doing this? We must have half the association going to the game here tonight, or coming to the game tonight. And it just tells you the interest that is generating for the sport, and obviously coming to see two very talented players, but I think also two very talented teams. So you're going to see a good game of football here tonight. But the interest, the media interest globally as well, with two superstars playing here tonight, full house, place will be bouncing, as you mentioned earlier on. I just think there's so many positives to come out of the occasion here.
We'll get to the starting 11 a little later on. We'll talk about the subs as well. But in a game like this, regardless of who's on the pitch, I imagine it comes down to attitude and will. You've played in games like this, Colin. How important is that in a match like this?
Well, without that, you have no chance. You have no chance. And speaking with Jesper Sorensen earlier on in the week, both of us, Asa, that attitude that the Whitecaps have shown, to be fair, the full season. It hasn't been, there have been very few occasions where we've come off a broadcast and said, wow, that was awful tonight. They didn't work hard enough for that. So that's been a gimme for the Whitecaps. So we know that regardless of a player maybe not playing at his best, he will be demanded that he gives it absolutely everything. And that will be the case here tonight. And I think without that, you don't give yourself a chance. Now, two very evenly matched teams, Asa, you also need to get the rub of the green, if you like. A little bit of luck goes a long way when two teams are so finely matched.
All right, we'll talk about the LAFC side of things in just a moment. We're going to be joined by Max Bretos in a moment. Before we look at LAFC for this Vancouver Whitecaps team, what would it mean to the club, to the fans here, to the city as well, to get the result and advance to the Western Conference Final for the first time in the club's history?
Wow, it's genuinely the big ticket item in Vancouver at the moment, the Vancouver Whitecaps tickets. When they first went on sale, they sold 23,000 in the first day, which was incredible. So it shows you the interest in the game here tonight. I think it means everything, because I'm looking even from the grassroots point of view of the game within our community here, not just in Vancouver area, but in BC and across the country. There'll be a lot of young boys and girls watching this game of football tonight, seeing the crowd and seeing what we can achieve as a country and what we can achieve here for the Vancouver Whitecaps, as an example. It just shows you that there is a genuine market for the game in Canada, across the country. But here, the intensity of what we're feeling is unmatched. I haven't seen it for a long, long time. I've been around since the old NASL days and watched the Whitecaps win the soccer ball ASA in the NASL. That intensity, we can feel that here tonight.
Oh, you can feel it. It's got goosebumps already, Colin. All right, let's turn our attention now to LAFC and welcome in our first guest as we focus on the opposition for the Vancouver Whitecaps here at BC Place. Oh, he's part of the MLS Season Pass broadcast team, one of the commentators that I know you're familiar with, and a longtime voice of LAFC. We're so happy to have Max Bretos joining us on this pre-match live stream. Max, what an occasion. I'm a little bummed that you're not here because I know how much you love this team and moments like this.
Not only that, but to be in Vancouver, what a city to host a huge match like this. And it's great to see it's getting its due diligence locally, internationally. This is a huge matchup. It's not just the stars. It's a big, having Mueller versus Sun Heung-min on the top is a great marquee, but there's so many compelling stories, so much talent on the field. And I just can't wait to see it all begin. I was going to get it, but I was going to get up there, but the demand for flights to Vancouver is so in demand from the LAFC supporters, because there's 2 direct flights, I believe, a day. So
Yeah.
they were pretty book solid. So
Yeah, I saw some videos. They are here. Yeah, the black and golds travel well, and I know some supporters take over a bar here locally. So loud and proud, you can see that. And moments away from kickoff here at BC Place should be a great match as well. So let's get to the nitty gritty here, the tactics. What are you expecting from LAFC in this game?
I think LAFC is going to be pretty aggressive. They know they have that counterattack in their back pocket, and they are going to challenge Vancouver to come out, almost say, come out and see what we can do, because we have Denny Bwanga, who Vancouver had a long look at over the last few years, and he has been a Western Conference killer. And now you have Son Heung-min, who can also, a lot of times when you watch him play, he'll move around. He won't get the touches or that with all that frequency. Then all of a sudden he's off and running. And I think they're going to look to do something they hope to do. This is a much better team than Austin, but that second leg against Austin FC where they punish them every time for their indiscretions. But Vancouver, I think there's a few more concerns from Jesper Sargent on what he might be facing. Because generally they press, they like to play a lot, but do they go a little more conservative because you're playing this team? It's really fascinating tactically, and I think that's going to be a big part. And I think if it's a close game, those benches who have both been pretty good for these clubs could play a big role as well.
If you're to pick one player outside of the big names that can make a difference in this game on the LAFC side of things, who's that one player that may be kind of sneaking under the radar can have a big impact in this one?
I'd have to say it's Mark Delgado. He's just so consistent. He makes things really move. And this midfield has been so bolstered. It wasn't a strength at the beginning of the year, but Timothy Tillman, he got onto the U.S. national team, did very well. His stock is soaring. He can play many positions. Matthew Choinière, Canadian player who's also been a big acquisition. But the best is Mark Delgado. I would say he's their third most important player on a regular basis. And maybe just a nudge behind some of those number 6, number 8s that would be considered for best 11 in MLS. He's very important, and we've seen him step up to the occasion, and he has championship big game experience with Toronto FC and the LA Galaxy.
Now, Max, take us into the LAFC market, really. How much buzz has this been generating over the last 3 weeks? A long break between games for both of these teams, but it's been building here in Vancouver. It's been similar in LA.
Yeah, and it's tough. I mean, we all know it's not a perfect playoff system where you have to wait 3 weeks, and the international break leaves so much mystery, and both clubs were affected pretty heavily about that. And they're doing the right thing by clearing that international date. I mean, obviously playing a game like this without the stars would be crazy. But, you kind of have to ramp it up a bit. I think the coaches appreciate that extra time to train and get really uber focused on one game, which makes it fascinating for us as well. Yeah. You've had all this time to prepare for this. You don't know what's going to happen because you're really not supposed to miss 3 weeks of action, but that's what these teams did by finishing their first round series so quickly. So this is going to be challenging, but they're both in the same boat. And it's been interesting to see it ramp up again. But I see the last 2 days from the league, the local market here, people are into it. And Son Heung-min is such a phenomenon. I was at the stadium yesterday, and you would see a lot of people buying merchandise. There's a lot of signage. It's big. I think the important thing is these are the games that are really going to lift this league, that are going to gain fans. People are going to watch this and join it. So I think what happens after is the big part.
All right. Well, that's it for us. I really appreciate your time, Max. Getting closer to kickoff here, and can't wait to see how it all plays out. Thanks so much, Max.
Well, you guys do a great job. Best of luck, and I truly believe whoever wins this game wins the cup.
That was Max Bretos of the MLS Season Pass broadcast commentary team. Great insight as always. Colin, when you look at this LAFC team, obviously they've got a lot going for them, but it's two players in particular that are so potent in the attack, Denny Bwanga and Son Heung-min. What do the Caps have to do to contain those two players in particular?
Well, I'm giving away one of my keys here already, Ace. I think it's very, very important. The Whitecaps are very well organized as we're attacking. I think that's going to be really important because Denny Bwanga and Son Heung-min, they're both deadly on the counter-attack. They look for each other. There's a genuine chemistry between those two players. It's kind of like what the Gold-White relationship was for the Whitecaps when both were fit and playing for the Whitecaps regularly. I think that's one of the key areas for LAFC. They almost rely so heavily on both of those players. If the Whitecaps can eliminate at least one of them at one point, it gives us a chance. You look at the Whitecaps, I think there's 21 or 24 players have scored throughout the season for the Whitecaps. So we're not solely reliant on one player doing the business. The goals can come from anywhere within the team. We've seen Mateus Laborda pop up and score goals from set plays as well. But those two, rightly so, as you mentioned, Asa, are deadly for LAFC. We have to be switched on and really tight when they receive the football. Really important. We've got a challenge on them right away.
The Whitecaps starting 11 is now out, so we can quickly go over that. Starting goal once again for the Caps is Yohei Takaoka, and then the ones that'll have to deal with is Son and Belanga. On the right side, it's Edir Ocampo. Down the middle, you have Ralph Priso and Tristan Blackman returning to the starting 11 for the Vancouver Whitecaps. On the left side, Matias Laborda. What do you think of the back group for the Vancouver Whitecaps, the back four, if you will?
Well, it's great to see Ralph Priso playing. I mean, he's obviously done well. He's played well here when at centre back for the Whitecaps when he's been in the first team. He's not put a foot wrong, to be honest with you. He's actually made the game look very easy. He hasn't been under this sort of pressure, Asa. Ocampo, for me, picks himself. I think he's been very good for the Whitecaps this season. Tristan Blackman, there's no question about the quality of the big fella. It's just how quickly can he get up to speed, match speed here in such an important game. And as I said, Mateus Laborda, I think, has had a very, very good season for the Vancouver Whitecaps. And he's played at centre-back, he's played at right-back, and he's played at left-back. And he hasn't put a foot wrong all season. It's been very, very good for the Whitecaps.
Middle of the park, Kubas and Sebastian Berhalter, no surprise there. The attacking four on the right side, it's Emmanuel Asabi. You can have Thomas Miller down the spine. On the left side, Ali Ahmed. Up top, Brian White returns to the starting 11 for your Vancouver Whitecaps.
Yeah, great to see that. That attacking three hasn't changed, and rightly so. The three players with Sabi, I think, has been. I just watched again the highlights when he was here against FC Dallas in the first round. Some of the football that Sabi played, coming in from the right-hand side centrally and linking up, giving goals. He was unlucky a couple of times, a couple of good saves from Stuver in goal for FC Dallas. I think Thomas Muller obviously picks himself. He's such a key component of the Whitecaps play generally, because as a coach, as a manager, you can see how he's leading on the field. Terrific ambassador for the game as well. On the left-hand side, Ali Ahmed. If there was a slight criticism of Ali, it would have been his final ball. But the ball that he played in for Daniel Rios to score with a header this game here in BC Place, if he can continue to add that quality of his final ball to his game, he wouldn't be here with the Whitecaps. But it is fantastic to see Brian White back in the first team. Again, he comes into that Tristan Blackman category, been out for a long time, the big fella with a hamstring problem. Might be in the back of his mind, Brian, but he will give it absolutely everything until he withers a little bit. But he's the key guy for the Vancouver Whitecaps here tonight in terms of getting those goals and getting on the end of things.
Yeah, if you're reading into body language or training, the guys look great. So really excited to see him back on the pitch. Really appreciate everyone chiming in on the chat. So got to get through this long list of people that are giving their predictions. First of all, we got a 2-0 Caps score, an early goal and score late. And don't mind that score line, 3-1 as well. And then we got some of your friends chiming in from Edmonton. Best of luck, Whitecaps from Edmonton. And gotta love that. Gotta love the fans from everywhere tuning in from Germany as well. We can see you and appreciate the support and chiming in and sharing this moment with us, because I know that we've been excited for this for a long time. Looking forward to this match, and it is finally here. What's the thing that you're looking forward to, Colin, and what are you looking out for, I should say, in the first 5 or 10 minutes, because that can really dictate what we expect here at BC Place.
Yeah, that's key for me, Asa. I think you nailed it there, pal. But the attitude of the players right from the start. We know that won't change Jesper Sorensen at all. He has wanted his team to be very aggressive going forward. If we lose possession high up the park, it's not warm in here. In fact, I'm going to put my jacket on after we come off of this. But those conditions allow Jesper Sorensen's side to press the ball higher again, and he will expect that. That's a gimme. There's no grey areas there. So I fully expect the Whitecaps to press high, to attack with pace, get the ball out in these wide areas, and try and expose these LAFC wingbacks. I'm well aware of Ryan Porteous, who plays for LAFC, played in the Scottish Premier League for Hibernian. So I'm well aware of them. And if we can put their defensive unit under pressure with quick through balls and get the ball up to Thomas Muller, who will distribute it early, we can cause this LAFC back unit some real problems.
All right, that about does it for us on this live stream, because we will be on 7:30 CKNW in about 10 minutes. 6 o'clock, our pre-match show kicks off there. You can join us on 7:30 CKNW. You can hear us as well on the Apple TV broadcast. You can just hit the local radio option at the bottom of the screen. Really want to thank everybody for tuning into this. Hopefully we do more of these. If the Caps obviously get a win, we'll be doing it again in a week. So thanks again. Enjoy the match.